So we got Frank Maselli. He's going to be coming up next. And Frank is an active member of our White Glove University. So Frank, if you're on, feel free to kick on your camera here. But essentially what we're going to do is Frank is going to give you guys some just dynamite stuff. But I also, Frank, I'm sure you have it built in, but I really want you to kind of talk about how you've helped advisors in the past and what they get from that White Glove University. So if you like Luke's content, Deirdre's content yesterday, anything like that, again, Captivating Advisor, you can sign up today, throw that in the Q&A, non-sales. We're not going to pitch you. We're not going to spam you. We're not going to market to you. But twice a month, you're going to get some value add content. Frank's been on my podcast before. You're going to get that episode. It's awesome. He's done some great videos for us as well. Those will probably be in the series with some great blog content like the SEC guidelines that Max shared yesterday. He's been a blog contributor. But again, the Captivating Advisor is strict value. Rising tides raise all ships. And that's what we want to do here at White Glove. That's why we offer these events for free, and we want to keep that ongoing. Frank, thank you so much for joining us. Frank has been with White Glove since its inception. And I remember talking to Frank, 5 years ago maybe, and telling him what we do. And he said, no, that doesn't make any sense. And I said, no, Frank, we do all of the work. You don't pay us until anybody shows up, and you just show and speak. And, at this point, Frank was a professional coach. He was helping people grow their businesses. He's traveling the country speaking, and I saw it in his eye, and he stopped just for a minute, and he thought, man, maybe I should go back into production because this gig sounds too good to be true. And ever since then, Frank and I have been best friends, and I've listened to you 100 times, Frank. You're always entertaining, but I always pick up something new. Maybe that's just because I'm a slow learner, but I think it's because you just pack so much value. So thank you very much for being on. You're a valuable partner for White Glove. We're super stoked to have you part of White Glove University. And I'll let you take it from here, buddy.
Beautiful. Thank you, Brad. It's great to see you, and it's great to be on. Can you see me? Is that possible?
I can see you and hear you. Yeah, you're looking good. Looking good.
Very good. I love the beard, by the way. The Amish girls must be going crazy over that. I think it's amazing. All right, so let's let me just share the screen here because that's much more important than looking at me, and it is a pleasure to be with everybody. Screen one, share. It's miraculous. Okay, very cool. Well, thank you. It's great to be with you. I have to say, just from the beginning, Brad's 100% right. When I first heard the White Glove story, I was like, wait a minute, tell me that again. Now, let me understand this. I don't pay for anything. If nobody shows up, I don't pay. I mean, it really took me about 30 minutes to just absorb the reality of what White Glove brings to the table. I've been so impressed with them from the very beginning of our relationship. And I'm so pleased that we've had a great relationship for so many years. I've been doing seminars for a long, long time. I've been in the business a long time, and it frightens me to think how long at this point. I mean, I'm usually now the oldest guy in the damn room. It's freaking me out, I got to tell you. But when I started doing seminars, it was the Wild West, and very, very different than it is today. And I've learned a lot, and I hope I can help you in the next 45 minutes and give you some ideas that I think will be useful. And we're here to help. So that's the most important thing. Let me just make sure this is all working. This is me, been around a while. I was an Army officer before coming into the business, which was kind of an interesting experience. If we ever have drinks, I'll share some of that with you. 37 years I've been in the business. I've been a manager. I've been an advisor. I've written a few books, blah, blah, blah. I've been around a while. But the key statistic here is 4,000 public seminars. I built my entire career on public events, on seminars and presentations. And at my peak as an advisor, I was doing over 7 seminars a week, which is a lot. I mean, those were, live events. And I was pounding it out because I found something that I absolutely love to do. Okay. I mean, I love to speak to people more than anything in the world. And I say this, my wife's not at home right now. She would kill me if she heard me, but the reality is I absolutely love this. And you'll get some sense of this if you ever hear anything I have to say. So this is a deep, deep passion. And when I realized, oh my God, you can make money doing this, it was an epiphany. And I'm guessing many of you have had that epiphany. It's just an exciting moment to realize you can grow your business and have fun doing it at the same time. Growing your business does not need to be painful, folks. And I'm not going to get into the whole passion prospecting thing, but it can be a lot of fun. So let's get into this. This has been a fantastic couple of days. I was on yesterday. I learned so much. And by the way, I am amazed by the law change on that testimonial thing. If you haven't paid attention to that, or if you missed that for any reason, that is a massive shift. And for $1,000, I will write a testimonial for any of you that makes you walk on water. I swear to God, it's going to be my new business model. It's going to be writing testimonials for financial advisors. So, I very, very powerful stuff. Great, great stuff. And Deirdre did a fantastic job. We'll talk more about her in a second. This is the home stretch. You might be getting a little burned out on virtual. I understand it. So, what I want to do right off the bat is I want to give you a call to action, so that if you have to leave for any reason, you don't have to stick around to the end. And we want you to stick around to the end. There's going to be more stuff at the end. But if an earthquake hits or the power goes out, I want you to do something. So here's my first call to action on my end of the program. All right. I want you to get this piece. It's a white paper. It's called Webinars 6 Pro Tips. And we're going to talk about this, but this is available for you. Okay. So this is a very simple call to action. All you need to do is shoot me an email tips, frank at maselligroup.com. And you're going to get this, and you're going to get some other stuff as well. It's going to be very interesting. There's a few things that I'm going to send you that I think will help tremendously. Shoot me an email. You'll get this. I don't know how to link it on this system here, but don't worry about that. Just send me an email. You're going to get this. You're going to get some other stuff that I'm going to talk about. These are the fulfillment items, the critical takeaway items that go with the full program that we're going to be doing over the next 45 minutes here. So you can have them all. Shoot me an email. Boom, you're done. You get the whole schmear, and it's a lot of fun and it'll be very helpful. All right. Let me give you the big picture first, because I think this is important. And I always like to start with the big picture because it creates a sense of what are we doing here? Why are we talking about this? All right. What's going on in the world that is causing this to be possibly the greatest time in our lives for doing what we do? I'm going to give you the simple, short version because this is a much longer story. The pandemic has changed a lot of things. We all know that. It's no live events or meetings, and that may be happening for quite a while. Some people are saying it could be the rest of the year. I'm hoping things break sooner. I can't wait to get back to live stuff. But frankly, even when we are finished with this pandemic, I think virtual is here to stay for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is that it's working like crazy. So even after the pandemic is over, we're going to be doing virtual for the rest of our careers. I truly believe that. We've gotten comfortable with it and pretty darn good at it fast. It's amazed me how fast the industry has adapted to virtual technology. So my hat's off to you. And White Glove is leading this charge. I mean, you guys pivoted. You did a 180 faster than any company I could ever have imagined. And my hat's off to you. It's just been amazing how you've done this. And it's working. It's working like crazy. But here's the thing. The one thing the pandemic did not change is the need for financial advice. The need for financial advice is absolutely exploding, folks. And I'll make the case for you very quickly and simply, just by looking at the future. And we're going to look at very simple statistics on demographics. Let's look at the demos, all right, really fast. You've got 72 million retiring baby boomers. We all know about the baby boomers. They need a lot of help. They are probably the sweet spot of your client base right now. That may not be the future, but it is the present. We get that. And by the way, I'm not including seniors. Seniors are older than boomers, but they're not the future of our business. You understand that. Seniors are viable present, and they certainly are the past, but not the future. So 72 million boomers, very powerful. They need a lot of help, and they've got a lot of money, tremendous amount of money. Then you've got, following them, 65 million worried Gen Xers. This is an interesting group of people who are in their peak earning and peak investing phase. They're making good money. They need a lot of help, and they are attending events. They're coming out of the woodwork for education. So hold that thought. Following them, you've got another 72 million maturing millennials. And when I say maturing millennials, the demographics are such that the millennial generation, which is as big as the boomers, all right, the millennial generation is just entering their peak earning and peak investing phase. The last time we had 72 million people enter their peak earning and peak investing phase was when I started in the business in 1982. And the baby boomers drove our profession through the roof and drove the markets through the roof. Okay. The need for financial guidance is exploding. And then if you're really young, you're going to be interested in the following generation, which is 68 million Gen Zs. Now, I'm not going to be alive to see Gen Zs as clients, but many of you will. And what this all translates down to, when you do the math, it comes down to 277 million people needing help with over $60 trillion of assets. This is an unprecedented reality. This has never happened before in the history of our country or the world. It's that big. It is such an incredible time for you to be who you are and doing what you do that it's unbelievable. You can't even get your mind around it. The future is so bright. And I think this is the best profession to be in for the next 80 years. And I got to tell you, a guy like Dan Gilbert would not be buying a company like White Glove if that were not true. So think about it. It's just a mind-boggling opportunity here, and the future for you is so bright that it's just incredible. Now, it's not going to go straight up. Nothing goes straight up. Our business is going to have choppy times, but the growth curve that you are on is unbelievable. The reason to be marketing is to tap into this unbelievable curve because it's going to exceed your wildest dreams. You are going to build a business if you do it right. If you do it right, and then that's a big if, okay? Not everybody does it right. The people on this call, the people on this program are interested in doing it right. You're committed. You've invested time, a tremendous investment in time, in learning how to do things right, okay? And White Glove is here to help you. So, all right, that's the future. It's unbelievable. Start thinking bigger. I doubled the business in 2 years, and I think that's conservative. I was going to give you a really outlandish number, which I think is possible, but 2 times the business in 2 years. Would you like to double your business in 2 years? I think that's completely doable. For some of you, it could be even higher. All right. Workshops are not the only way to grow. Let me make that clear. All right. There are many, many ways to grow a practice, but I happen to think that these are the best way to grow. This is the most fun you're going to have. Let me show you very quickly 14 prospecting strategies. There are 14 main prospecting strategies. I teach these in my Passion Prospecting program because, frankly, not everybody should be doing webinars. Not everybody should be doing workshops. The vast majority of financial advisors, you know what? You're not that good at it. So you shouldn't be doing this. So what are they? Seminars and workshops, number 1. Client referrals, number 2. COI referrals, center of influence referrals. Direct mail can still work. Cold or warm calling, not my favorite thing. We did a lot of cold calling in the day. It can still work. If you're a nut job and you want to be cold calling, fine. God bless you. It can still work. Event marketing, trade show marketing, personal networking, which is interesting. You're going to get something in the toolbox on that, and it'll help you. I'm not going to get into it, but it's where you know people with money and you'd like to have them as clients, but you can't go to them and twist their arms because you look very salesy. E-marketing, we've talked about ad nauseum over the last 2 days. You're getting a taste of it, and White Glove's on the cutting edge of all of that. So that's pretty darn exciting. Public relations is very interesting. Target and niche marketing, advertising, media and podcasting. I love podcasting, by the way. I wish I was better at it. I mean, I'm good at actual content, but I'm not good at consistency. We might have to talk about that because if you're not consistent, you do 2 or 3 podcasts, it falls by the wayside. That's not enough. But if you are consistent with podcasting, it's a gold mine. It is an unbelievable gold mine. So anyway, these are the main prospecting modalities. There are many ways to grow a business. The best one, I think, is why we're all here, which is workshops, okay, in some form. All of these overlap and they form something that we in the military, we call the combined arms attack. Frankly, I would be trying to do multiple growth strategies. I wouldn't try to put all my eggs in one basket unless I was absolutely sure that basket was my best thing, which I eventually did. All right. But for those of you who are just maybe starting out in the business or who have different interests, you know what? Try a few things. It can all pay off and they all go together. So hold that thought. I think the key to growth in the future, however, is education. And that's why you're here. Prospects want a couple of things. They want to learn without pressure. They want to find someone they like and trust. You've heard this a lot. They want someone who knows their stuff. The fact that you're giving a presentation, the fact that you're up in front of that room or on camera implies that you are an expert in that thing that you're talking about. And you should be proud to be an expert. And don't hesitate to talk about yourself as if you are an expert, because compared to them, you are an expert. Okay. So don't feel bad about that. Do not denigrate, do not downplay your abilities. Very important. The audience wants to believe in you, and they do believe in you. They want somebody who asks questions and listens. We'll talk about that in a second. Not a lot of listening going on in a webinar, all right? But on an appointment, on the first appointment, it's all about listening. So hold that thought. Someone who's patient, honest, and caring, somebody who puts their best interests first, which is the new model of the financial services profession. I think you all understand this. Many of you are fiduciaries, and that's a very, very good thing to be. Public doesn't even know what fiduciary means, but they know that it's a good thing. So they want you to be a fiduciary. I don't think anything beats live presentations, frankly, for the emotional bandwidth alone, but virtual has some very big advantages, which are interesting. And they've only become apparent to me over the last year, quite frankly. They're very easy to set up and attend. People can attend by just going click. Look at you. You're all doing click. We would have had to have gathered somewhere to do this same event, but you're getting almost the exact same learning and content and value by sitting at your desk. All right. And I didn't have to fly to Vegas or wherever the hell you want to be. Bottom line is they're very, very easy to do and very easy for people to attend. The costs are a lot lower, cost in time and cost in dollars. Very powerful. It's a safe learning environment for prospects. They get to learn without that face-to-face commitment of a live event. And there is pressure, and we don't have time to go into all the psychology here, but there is pressure on a live event. There's eye contact on a live event. So it's a safer learning environment for the prospects. You can create a broader geographic reach. You don't need to just prospect in your neighborhood anymore. Now, there's some value in that, obviously, the ability to get together after the workshop. But there are many advisors who are doing niche marketing or target marketing with a profession that transcends geography. They're reaching out all over the country for people who are interested in what they bring to the table. So the barriers have gone down. When you're virtual, there are no geographic barriers. You can also do something called recorded reruns. Potential. You can record a webinar and then post it and then still reap tremendous benefits from it. So I think you understand all this stuff. It's become an extraordinary prospecting modality. I think it's just an unbelievable opportunity. So that's why we're here. So if you're going to do them well. Don't screw around. Okay. You're here to stop screwing around. And that's what we're going to help you do. The time for screwing around is over, folks. All right. If you're going to do webinars, if you're going to do virtual stuff, be very good at it, or then stop doing it, because you're giving the rest of us a bad name. All right. So here's my warning. Let me just warn you in advance. There's a lot of people out there talking about virtual advice. There's an unlimited amount of virtual advice. Here's the way to do webinars. Okay. Everybody's got an opinion on this. Some's good, some's not, in my opinion. All right. You got to decide for yourself. There is no magic formula to success. You've got to find your path to success. Your path is going to be different than mine. It's going to be different than anybody else's. My goal as a coach is to get you as quickly as humanly possible to a 50% appointment kept ratio. Appointment kept, not appointment set. So to get to 50% appointments kept, you got to get to 80% appointments set. That's a big number. That may not seem like a big number to some of you, but it's a very big number. And you can do it. It's absolutely doable. People are doing this. All right. And the ultimate reason is so that you can save more lives. We're in a life-saving profession. We're not in a sales business anymore. And I don't have time to explain this whole thing, but the reality is we're the greatest life-saving profession in the world. I want you to save more people. And by saving more people, your business grows. Okay. Deirdre yesterday was fantastic, absolutely fabulous. And I want to just suggest something to you. When two people from totally different backgrounds, her background and mine are completely different. I grew up in this business. I did live public events as a financial advisor. She was not a financial advisor. She told you that yesterday, but we both came to the same conclusions from a completely different perspective. When that happens, you've got to pay attention. There was a lot of overlap in some of the things that we said. One of the things that she stressed was emotions. And I could not agree more. That's 100% correct. In fact, that's the subtitle of my book. It's called Seminars, The Emotional Dynamic. This is powerful. You've got to be able to reach people on an emotional level, even more importantly than an intellectual level. Intellectual is important. I'm not denying the importance of that. All right. But emotions are 10 times more important. And in the book, and what I want to go through very briefly, are the 9 critical emotions that you've got to hit. There are specific emotions that you've got to reach in a presentation. If you hit all 9 of these, especially in a virtual presentation, it's a little tricky. I'll give you some tools that will help you. You're going to find yourself at that 80% appointment ratio. I think it'll work wonders for you. All right. The first is you got to get people to like you. Second is you want them to understand what you're talking about. You don't want to baffle them. You don't want to confuse them. You want to clear up the confusion. And so your presentation has to be understandable. You want to generate respect. You can't do business with people who don't respect you as a professional. I will tell you right off the bat, stop doing webinars in T-shirts. Because you lose my respect immediately. And there's not that many people in T-shirts, but for some reason, everybody's super casual these days. I got to tell you, if I signed up to see a professional do a webinar to teach me something valuable and you came on in a golf shirt, it ain't working. So think about it. I know ties are gone. Ties have gone the way of the fedora, and I have a closet full of ties. At this point, I can't tell you what I actually use them for, but the reality is, fine. Look like a professional. I get it. People want to have confidence in you. There are some tricks that you've got to use, not tricks, some actual presentation techniques that will generate confidence. They also want to have a good time. You've got to have fun in these programs. If you're not having fun, what are you doing? And if the audience senses that you're really struggling to grind through a presentation and you're not having fun, how do you expect them to enjoy it? You want people to enjoy the presentation, which also implies that you've got to know the material so well that you can ad lib and you can inject humor and fun into the presentation. Hold that thought. Fear. Fear is a complex emotion. And all I will tell you is the goal of a presentation is not to scare people. They're already scared. They wouldn't be coming to the workshop. They wouldn't be coming to your virtual presentation if they didn't have some fear inside them. Fear is probably what motivated them to come in the first place. Your job in the presentation is to unscare them, to take the fear away. But you've got to understand what the fears are. You've got to unify the fears and then dissipate the fears. All right. Very important that you understand fear. It's a critical emotion. It's not a motivating emotion. Fear is a demotivator. You cannot use fear to motivate people. That is, I think, an unethical strategy. We used to do it a lot. I think those days are over. I don't think you need to do it. People are already scared, but you have to understand fear and you've got to learn how to dissipate the fear and make the fear go away. And if you can make the fear go away, if at the end of your seminar or webinar, the people are less scared than when they came in, you've achieved something magical and very, very powerful, and that will compel them to want to work with you. Driving people to take action, and the close relative of action is getting people to make changes. Action and change go very closely together. Those are deep emotional sets. People don't like to take action, and they definitely don't like change. Even if the change is extremely beneficial, they don't like it. People hate to make changes. Okay. You need to create an emotional context for those. And you've got to convince them that change and action are the normal conditions as a modern investment person. As a modern person trying to invest, change is normal. It's not abnormal. The absence of change is abnormal. Okay. And the final one is enthusiasm. You got to be fired up. Every speaker today was incredibly fired up. I got to tell you, you guys are fantastic. Luke, unbelievable. Just great stuff. Really good. A lot of fun, a lot of energy. I love energy. Okay. So here's tool number 2. Get your virtual presentation e-score. You're going to get an e-score. This is your emotions. We will score your workshop on an emotional level. Very powerful. I'll watch your video. This is something we can do. It's a lot of fun. I love watching videos, and we'll give you a score and we'll show you how you are reaching or not reaching these emotional high points. What are you making that emotional connection with the audience? We can help tremendously with that. All right. What works in a live event, you've heard this from everybody, does not necessarily work in virtual. There's different rules, there's different skills, there's different expectations from the audience. And the difference is a very simple but powerful difference. On one hand, a live presentation is Broadway theater, and a virtual presentation is television. These are completely different communication modalities. There is some overlap, okay? Enthusiasm does overlap. But by and large, these are very, very different models. And I will tell you, and I've been a stage performer my entire life. I'm not going to get into the history of my theater experiences, but I did play Judd Fry in Oklahoma. That's a picture of Oklahoma. But the difference between a live presentation and a video or television or webinar, web-based presentation is pretty significant. So we'll talk about some of this in a second. So the 6 tips are basically these, and I'm going to blast through these for the sake of time and fun. I want to cover them in a little bit of detail, some of the more important things that you can immediately do. But these are the 6 tips, and you can read about it in the white paper. Remember, it's down at the bottom of the screen. Email 6 tips to Frank at Maselli Group, and you'll get this thing very quickly. Number 1, you got to keep it short and focused. And when I say short, if you have a 1-hour webinar, if it's scheduled for an hour, you're going to cut it to 40 minutes. And you're going to tell them you're going to cut it to 40 minutes. Hold that thought. We'll talk about it. Streamline your call to action and use a baby step. And we'll talk about the baby step in a minute. Energize your visuals. The visuals, I could spend a lot of time talking about this, but I'm not sure there's a real benefit to it. I obviously create my own PowerPoints, and I like doing that. I love PowerPoint, and don't trash PowerPoint in my presence, okay? Because people who trash PowerPoint don't know how to use PowerPoint. It's one of the most powerful tools, no pun intended, of creating ideas and sharing information that you can use. It's not perfect. Nothing's perfect, but it's very, very effective if you know how to do it. If you can energize your visuals with very simple PowerPoint techniques, it makes a gigantic difference for the audience, and it makes a gigantic difference in their receptivity to the presentation. I'm not talking about changing the content. One of the things that we do in White Glove University, if you're interested, is a PowerPoint makeover. We don't change the content. We change some of the dynamics of the presentation, which can be very, very effective for you. Believe it or not, it makes a huge difference in how you deliver the presentation. Okay. Fall in love with the camera. Talk about that. Keep the energy high and the pace quick, and focus on the MIT, the MIT. So let me explain some of these. Number 1, keep it short and focused. This is short attention span theater, folks. You got 30 to 40 minutes, absolute max. I would not go beyond 40 minutes, and I don't care what your topic is. And if your topic is that dense that you've got to go to 60 minutes, figure out a way to streamline it. And I tell people right up front, folks, class is going to end early. All right. And there's a subliminal message to the phrase class is going to end early. It reminds them of school, and people get happy when you say, look, I know this is scheduled for an hour, but I'll tell you what, I want to focus on the most critical parts. And I think we'll be done in about 40, maybe 45 minutes. Is everybody okay with getting out a little early? And I promise everybody says yes, absolutely. Keep your title compelling and use small numbers. 3 things we're going to learn, 5 things we're going to learn. You get the idea. All right. I'm going to focus on 3 things. All right. Use a very simple agenda. I didn't really use an agenda with you. I kind of did, but sometimes you blast right through it. But keep it simple. You only need 4 bullet points on an agenda. Very, very easy to do. Avoid long personal stories. Deirdre yesterday talked about your why story, and I absolutely love your why story. I think you need a good why story. It's great. It's powerful, but keep it short. If your why story starts out when you wanted to be a baseball player in 8th grade and oh my God, I promise you, the audience is going, what are you doing? Stop. Good God, I came to this thing to learn something, not about your aspirations as a peewee football player. And there's some coaches out there that are advising people, that are advising advisors to tell these long personal stories. And I have to say, in my opinion, that is dead wrong. Absolutely dead wrong. Well, and you know what? Try it. See if it works for you. listen, if you're listening to some other coach and you're getting an 80% appointment ratio, then don't listen to anything I say because it's working for you. But if you're not at 80%, then you need to think seriously about changing what you're doing. Okay. So avoid these long stories if you do have a good why story, and you should. And we'll do a story analysis for you. That's part of what we do at White Glove University is a story analysis. You tell me the stories that you want to tell in your workshop, and I'll rip them apart for you. And we'll shorten them down, we'll tighten them, we'll focus on them, and we'll get to the meat of the story. Storytelling is a science. Deirdre talked about this yesterday. It is an absolute psychological science. And if you're good at it, there's nothing better. Nothing better. And if you're not good at it, there's nothing worse. It can really drag down a presentation. Avoid confusing graphics. And if there are confusing graphics in your PowerPoint, and by God, there are, I mean, this is one of my favorites. You've all seen this. This is, this is the market pie chart. I mean, I don't even know what you call this stupid thing. Don't do anything like this. This is universally horrifying. This is called death by PowerPoint. This is why people hate PowerPoint. Nobody can understand this. Nobody can read this. Avoid tired brochure pictures. I hate these. I hate these with a passion. And in retirement seminars, they're ubiquitous. There's always smiling, happy people with great teeth, and some woman's climbing on some guy's back, and it's just absurd. It's comical. If my wife climbed on my back, we're going down. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we are collapsing, and she's a stick, but I can barely support my own weight. So the bottom line is don't do this. People are there for content. They're not there for fluff. They're not there for magazine pictures. And part of the problem is that a lot of times the people creating these presentations are in marketing departments, and they've never actually given a presentation. I'm not saying you don't use pictures. I like pictures, but pictures that have an application to the audience. All right. Avoid rambling, stream of consciousness, sidebars and digressions, anything without a supporting visual. This is important. If you have an important thing to talk about and it's not on the screen, you've got a limited amount of time to do it because the people are looking at that screen as a visual. They're also looking at you, but more so the screen. So if you talk for more than a certain amount of time, like I'm doing right now with nothing happening on the screen, the attention begins to wander. You've got to master that. Connect to the main points. The audience is always asking themselves, why are we learning this? Why is this critical? How is this going to help me? Keep these questions in mind as you build a presentation and as you deliver a presentation. This is what keeps the audience engaged. As soon as you stray from this, the audience begins to fade in their attention. Okay. When it comes to length, I have a very simple rule. If you can't get them in 30 minutes, then 60 minutes ain't helping you. You know what I'm saying? All right. It's a very simple reality. If you can't get somebody to bond to you sufficiently to set an appointment in 30 minutes, then dragging it out for an hour is not going to make a difference. It's actually going to hurt you. All right. So think about that. It makes some sense. Streamline your call to action. What do you want people to do? I always try to give people two choices. Choice number one is a phone or a web-based appointment. I think that goes without saying in a virtual environment. Choice, once we get back to live, choice will be a live, appointment. I think that's what you want. You want an appointment of some kind. And you've heard many people today talk about setting appointments, and we have an entire bank of information about how to set appointments, how to do a power close, what to say about setting an appointment. There's many schools of thought about this. One school of thought is to set the expectation for the appointment early in the workshop. That's not my personal practice. My personal practice is I try to wait till the end of the workshop before I even mention the appointment. And I do that for a reason. I want the audience to really have fallen in love with me before I give them that second date opportunity. But many ways to skin a cat, and people who are doing it the other way are very effective. So I'm not going to rain on anybody's parade. If it's working for you, do it. If it's not working for you, then try something else. It may not be. And I also love a baby step call to action, which I actually did with you. A white paper, a report, a one-page, or something they can request right there while they are paying attention to the workshop. Because people are multitasking, but here's the best part. The people who request that white paper, which I did with you, all right, if you remember, within the first 3 minutes of this, I said, shoot me an email and you're going to get a white paper on 6 tips. That's called the baby step. I gave you something to do while you were watching the presentation because people are multitasking. Give them something to do early in the presentation. The people who take that baby step are 4 times more likely to set the appointment. That's the power of the baby step. And the baby step is a very simple thing. It's one of the major advantages of virtual. You can't do a baby step in a live presentation. When people are sitting in front of you, you can't say, all right, everybody take out your phones and do this right now. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. In virtual, it absolutely works because they're multitasking already. They're watching on one screen. They got something else going on the other screen. I'm playing EVE Online while I'm watching all these things. And by the way, if any of you play EVE Online, shoot me an email. I am fascinated by this game. I just got into this. It's been around for a long time. But if you know anything about this, it's an unbelievable space game. It's like Warcraft in space. A lot of fun. I'm a big gamer, by the way. A lot of fun. And I made a lot of money in gaming stocks. Very, very amazing stuff. Anyway. Number 3, energize your slides. Make it interesting to stay engaged. Live workshops or theater, webinars or TV. Use visual builds. Use simple animations. Use easy to read graphics. And one thing I'll tell you is about PowerPoint. You don't need to become a PowerPoint expert. This is PowerPoint like 101 stuff. This is not complex PowerPoint stuff. If you need help, reach out to us. This is stuff I do in my sleep. And we've got people who can help you. It's a lot of fun to use it correctly. It becomes an incredible tool when you do it right. No changes to approved content, just better delivery. This is another example of horrifying PowerPoint. And you can get something if you want it. If you shoot me an email, you're going to get something. I love sequence of returns. I love talking about sequence of returns. I find a reason in every presentation I do to talk about sequence of returns. Why? Because the audience has never heard this before. They go wild over it. They absolutely love it. So give it some thought. I think it'll make some sense, but don't do this. Get this. All right. I've created something called sequence of returns. It's a simple PowerPoint. You can all have it. It's free. It'll really make a difference for you. Was somebody trying to talk? Brad, were you trying to jump in? I'm sorry. No? Okay. My apologies. Get that. A lot of fun. Fall in love with the camera. The camera is real people, folks. Make eye contact as much as you can. Don't stare at the camera. You don't have to stare at the camera. It's not natural to stare at the camera. And you saw all the other speakers today. They were actually further away from the camera than I am. But you want to make contact as much as possible with the camera. Be natural, be comfortable. Think of it as a good friend. And I have a very simple trick. This is what I'm looking at right now. I actually have a picture that I've taped to the front of the camera. In fact, I don't know. Well, I'm not. If I take it off the camera, you won't be able to see it. So, all right. But this is what my camera looks like to me. I put a picture of an audience, so I remember that I'm talking to live people out there. You're not anywhere near as attractive as these folks, but it keeps me motivated to know that I'm talking to people. And if you get serious into this, learn how to use a teleprompter. Teleprompters are not easy, but they're very fun to use. And when you get good at it, it really makes a big difference. I mean, I look at Wolf Blitzer every day on CNN, and it's just amazing to me. I mean, professionals learn how to do this stuff. It's really good. Keep the energy high and the pace quick. The one thing that I don't like about virtual is that there's no audience feedback. I can't tell what you're thinking right now. I have no idea what you're feeling, what your emotions are, if you're following me, if you're enjoying this. I truly have no clue. All right. And frankly, I'm not going to ask you because it's a waste of time. It's me. It's up to me to put the energy out there. It's all up to you as the speaker to be the source of energy in a workshop. You get no energy back from that audience. That's truly one of the negatives about virtual. But if you can deal with that, and if you can accept that, and if you can believe that you are adding value, then that goes away because you are adding value. You've got to trust in that value. So don't worry about it. You do need to juice up your natural style a little bit. I think a little bit more energy, a little bit more greater vocal variety. Try to vary your voice a little bit, shout, whisper, laugh. Don't hesitate to laugh. Don't hesitate to use dramatic pauses. Okay. Movement, props. Now, movement, I'm moving within a limited bandwidth. You can't jump around so that you're off camera. Some people who step further away from the camera, that can be done well. I've seen people walk onto stage to start a webinar, and that can be effective. So think about it. And if you've got a setup that permits you to do that, go for it. Give it a shot. That becomes much more natural in a lot of ways. Much greater use of humor. I'm a big believer in humor. We spend a lot of time helping advisors inject some humor into very dry workshops. Some of these things just put you to sleep, but a little bit of humor can be fun, and you need to learn how to do it. I also like to use video or image inserts that highlight some key points and some touchstone experiences. I inject some video. I was going to do it today, but the technology is intimidating unless I'm doing it myself. So I like to use some stuff from movies, from TV shows, short clips, not gigantic clips, but it really helps keep things moving. Number one, keep things interesting and fun. Number two, and it is a touchstone thing, generational experiences. People who know Star Trek are people who have money. You know what I'm saying? So think about it. And that's another interesting thought. Okay. Think like a TV editor. And this is a little tricky, but stay with me for 1 second. The Big Bang Theory is the most popular TV show, was the most popular sitcom in the history of television. And whether you liked it or not, that's a reality. Okay, that's a fact. The average episode was 21 minutes long, and they used 300 camera shots during that episode. That means the average camera shot was on screen for less than 4 seconds. Think about it. Think like a TV editor. If something sits on the screen for more than 30 seconds without movement or without something happening on that screen, that's bad. I did a video review for an advisor the other day, and he had a visual on the screen. He had one slide on the screen for 4 minutes. And people probably thought that the thing was over, or that, something got disconnected. He's talking, he's droning on and on and on. And there's one graphic sat on the screen for 4 minutes. And I'm thinking, why not just break that apart? Why not just throw a couple of bullet points in there? Why not just segment it into different elements? It would have been so much more powerful. And you would have gotten the same message across in a much more dynamic way. Okay. Keep it moving to keep your audience engaged. One thing of caution that I would think about is be careful with too many audience polls, questions, and interactive surveys. By their nature, virtual programs are not interactive engagements. They're not designed to be interactive. If you force too much interaction, now I'm not saying don't use any interaction, but too much interaction. I watched another video where every 2 minutes, the advisor was taking poll questions from the audience. It will dramatically deaden the air of your presentation. It will kill the energy of your show, because I'm going to ask you all a question now. So where's everybody from? Okay, and then I'm going to wait, and I'm going to wait. No, it's ridiculous. Who the hell cares where you're from? Nobody in the audience cares where anybody else is from. Trust me on that. So if you're going to use them sparingly. Use them, maybe right in the beginning when things are quick, when people are still engaged because it's new. But please don't do more than a couple of those. Look, my opinion, don't do it. All right, what can I tell you? Focus on the MIT. What's the most important thing? The most important thing. Let me give you an example of what I mean by the MIT, and we'll use taxes and retirement as an example. Okay, I love this program. It's a great program, but you got to focus on the most important thing, because it gets to be very dense if you're not careful. The most important thing is this: taxes suck. All right, there you go. You got that? Good. And they're absolutely going up. There's no question about that. They're going up. There's no way on God's earth that they're not going up over the next several years. And you heard Ed talk about this yesterday. And if you don't understand it, go back and watch what he talked about. We are in a retirement nightmare. We are facing a crisis of unprecedented proportions. Taxes have to go up. There's no option. Incredible. You can do something about it if you learn some stuff and if you take some action soon. Okay? You can do something about this. You can protect yourself if you want. I know this stuff intimately. This is what I live with every day. I am very skilled, and I'm very eager to help you if you need help getting it done. And I have to tell you something, folks. Rich people are doing this every day. And that's a fun little message to throw in there, which kind of makes people angry, because they're not doing it, but other people are doing it. And you all know the stories about wealthy people who pay no taxes because they know what the hell they're doing, and they've got armies of experts to tell them what to do. This is the crux of the entire taxes and retirement workshop. In fact, you could build the entire workshop around these elements. And if you haven't seen it, you should take a look at my taxes and retirement opening, which is I think it's a pretty good opening. It's the way I would do a PowerPoint. It's the way I would do a presentation on taxes and retirement. Why are we here? Because taxes suck. They're going up, and you're going to get killed. And if you don't do something about it, you're going to get hosed badly. but I can help you. And you're going to learn some stuff tonight that's going to help you. Boom. That's it. Most important thing. Focus on the MIT and try to create the MIT in every presentation. Figure out what the MIT is. And by the way, there can be sub-MITs for each subtopic. So hold that thought. Okay. Look, I could do this all day long, and I have done this all day long. But let me just leave you with a couple of thoughts. All right. Get the white paper, get the books, get some help. This is important. White Glove has created something extremely powerful here. White Glove has created a business that did not exist 5 years ago. They found something that was a dramatic need in the financial community. And I can tell you point blank that was a need because of the 4,000 public seminars I did as an advisor. I did not have White Glove. And many of you did not have White Glove when you probably started doing this. And if you didn't, you know what I'm talking about. When you stood in front of your restaurant and it started to rain cats and dogs in Florida, and you're looking at your watch and you're looking inside the room and you're going, oh my God, there's 2 people here. I got dinner for 45 people and there's only 2 people showing up. All right. You know that feeling. It's a horrifying feeling. And seminars were very expensive. They were you putting out all the time, the energy, the money up front, and maybe getting a return. And I eventually did start getting a return, or I would have stopped doing them, but they were paying off. But a lot of people stop doing seminars because they don't pay off. And the return on investment is taxing. It's very, very difficult sometimes, especially when you're just starting. So along comes these 3 guys who created this. I mean, Dean, Mike, and Jeff created something out of thin air that never existed before that has solved one of the greatest problems in the financial services profession. This is unbelievable. I mean, it's mind-boggling to me. So think about this, and they're doing more with this every single day. And if you haven't taken advantage of this, well, first of all, you probably wouldn't be on the call. But if you're just thinking about White Glove, get involved with this. This is mind-boggling. It's completely turned the equation upside down. And when Brad said I was thinking about going back into production, I'm not done. Okay. I mean, I still have my licenses and everything. I don't actually want to manage money anymore. But the reality is that if you are in the business and if you plan to be in the business over the next 10, 15, 20 years or longer, this is a goldmine opportunity. They've created something incredibly powerful. And White Glove University is a subset of this entire model where our entire reason for being is to help you succeed, to help you do the best presentations you can possibly do. And if you don't like me, you can talk to Deirdre, all right? Maybe I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I tend to be more obnoxious than most people. But the reality is you've got help, you've got expertise, you've got knowledge that is yours for the asking. Very, very powerful. Okay, I'm going to do this. Let me see. Is there anything else? No, I think that's about it. Boom. White Glove University, training, coaching, detailed analysis. We will cut you to shreds, and I'll do it in a nice way. But when you send me your video, I will chop it up. I'll do a time-based correction on your entire video. I'll tell you when you did something. We're going to watch it together in some cases, and we will really help you. It's probably the best coaching tool in the world. And by the way, outside of White Glove University, I charge $4,000 to do that. So think about it. It's something that you can get. It's a lot of fun. Okay, I'm done. I'm going to turn it back to Brad. We can do questions, whatever you want.
Let's hang out for a minute, Frank, if that's cool with you.
Sure. Say that again. I'm sorry, I missed the first part.
I just asked you to hang out for a minute, and let's see if we got some questions. And you know, I would just circle back. You know, we listened to Brad Gatto this morning, and he's got his master class going into White Glove University. And great, that alone is worth $599, right? $600 to get the advisor who is killing it with webinars to tell you everything he's doing. I don't know if it comes with the elephant or not. You know, I didn't read the fine print. But man, like Frank said, you know, he charges $4,000 for what he does for our White Glove University members. And if you're going to do any presentation, if you're going to do a seminar, you're going to do a webinar, I don't care if you use White Glove or not. I mean, I do. I want you to use White Glove. We're awesome, right? But to get access to Frank and Brad and all the resources in there for $599, to me is a no-brainer. It's literally nothing compared to if you book one more appointment on any seminar you do, it's paid for itself. And Frank has been a long-standing partner with White Glove. We love Frank. All his resources are available. We can hook you up with all of that. And, the link for White Glove University is in the chat function there. So just zip on that. If you want that today is $5.99, and you get full access to Frank. I think you actually get his personal cell phone number, which he picks up, which is always, for me anyway, he picks up. And I never understood that. I always say that to him. First thing it rings, hey, Frank Maselli. And I always say, Frank, why do you pick up the phone when I call? Where's your assistant to be the gatekeeper and keep me out? So Frank, you've seen all these crazy transitions, right, over the last year, and you're a professional speaker, right? That's what you do for your day job,
Absolutely.
Outside of helping advisors, through the White Glove U. I mean, you do professional speaking, and how is that going from you? We'll take a little break here from the session. Just how is that going? What's the atmosphere looking like? What do you see in the future?
Well, I mean, it's obviously been a very difficult year. This has been a brutal year for live presentations, although I did have one, and a group said, can you come down to Florida? And I said, well, if you've got the guts to come together, as long as you're wearing masks, I will come and talk to you. So I think live is coming back. I think there's a pent-up demand for live interaction. Nothing is as powerful as a live presentation, in my opinion. And I'm not saying virtual isn't good, because it is. But a live presentation, the emotional bandwidth, the power of a live presentation and being in a room full of people, that's coming back. That's never going to go away. We're human beings. Okay. So I'm hoping that it comes back sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, I've adapted as quickly as possible to a virtual environment. I've been doing webinars just like you guys have. And by the way, Brad Gatto was fantastic, but did he have to name the elephant Frank? I mean, Jesus, really? I mean,
I never thought of that. I never thought of that. So, and by the way, I mean, I think your trainer's doing better than mine. You're looking awesome, Frank. You're getting slimmed out there. I think we're
45 pounds, baby. 45 pounds. I'm telling you.
Wow.
I started from a very big number, but I'm down 45. I got 20 more to go, and I'm back at my football playing weight. So I'm very excited about that.
Wow. Well, Congratulations, buddy. So you got to come up to Birmingham one of these days and hang out, and we'll grab a cheeseburger or something, see if we can throw a couple pounds back on you. So
thank you.
Are you gonna stick around, or are you gonna come back for the question and answer at the happy hour?
Yeah, whatever you need. I'll be here.
All right, buddy. 6 o'clock, log back on. We're gonna let everybody pepper you with questions. And thanks again, Frank, for your continued partnership. We love working with you, and anybody that's working with White Glove, not working with White Glove, access to Frank Maselli for $5.99 is absolutely astonishing. It blows my mind that we're able to cut that deal. I don't know what happened, but Frank, we really, really appreciate it. And I really appreciate all your help. So we'll see you later tonight for the Q&A, and we'll mix some drinks or something. So
sounds good. Thanks, Brad.
All right. Thanks, buddy.